Welcome everybody that's supposed to be here and our guests. Sure glad to have you at the Owensboro Board of Commissioners regular meeting, July the 6th, 2021. At this time, I'll ask the City Clerk Beth Davis to please call the roll.
Commissioner Jeff Sanford,
Here.
Commissioner Mark Caslen,
Here.
Mayor Tom Watson,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Larry Maglinger,
Here.
Commissioner Bob Glenn.
Here.
Okay, item 3 on the agenda is the invocation and the pledge. Will you please stand? Mayor Pro Tem Larry Maglinger.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, as we gather here today, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community, keeping in mind always the enduring values of life and exerting our efforts in those areas. May we be challenged to always give our best. Thank you for being our guiding source today. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 4A, we're going to ask the Major to come to the podium.
Yes,
State your
sir.
name and address for the record, please.
Jason D. Winkler, 222 East 9th Street, sir. Mayor, Commissioners, I'd like to introduce John Lyons. He comes to us from Breckenridge County Sheriff's Office, where he served there for 3 years. He's lateraling over to us, and we're proud to have him, sir.
Most of them are. You know that, don't you? Okay. This is the official oath. Just when I stop, you can repeat me, please. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky so long as I continue a citizen thereof, and that I will faithfully execute to the best of my ability the office of police officer according to law. And I do solemnly swear that since, y'all forgot to do it, didn't you? I rely on y'all to remind me. We're not going to start all over, but that's all right. No problem, Samuel. I, being a citizen of this state, have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within this state, nor out of it. Nor have I sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have I acted as a second in carrying a challenge, nor aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help me God. All right, let's hear it.
I want to say it's a pleasure to be here. I'm humbled to accept the offer from the Owensboro Police Department. I'm not much of words, but I'm ready to get started and work the streets and do what I can for the citizens of Owensboro. I appreciate everybody being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. David. Cookie. All right, item 4B. It's my pleasure to introduce Clay Horton, the Green River District Health Department. He's going to give us a COVID-19 update. Mr. Horton.
Hey, good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you for inviting me to speak with you. I'm Clay Horton. I'm with the Green River District Health Department. I'm the Public Health Director. On June 11th, I remember the date because it was the day that all of the mask restrictions and the executive orders were lifted. The mayor called me, and his question was, how are we really doing? And we talked for a while, and he said, well, he asked if I'd come to the commission meeting and kind of give an update, and I'm glad to do that. I'm glad to do it any time, too. We don't have to wait to the next 100-year pandemic for you to invite me back and talk about the health. No. I'll be there a little bit longer, but anyway. But what I told the mayor that day, and what I'll tell you all, is things are looking in a very positive direction. So, I haven't felt this optimistic for a long time. But we are moving in a better place as not only a community, but as a state and a nation. Still some room for improvement on a worldwide stage. The pandemic's still very much going in other parts of the world. But we're doing very well. Here in Davis County, for the past month, since when we had that conversation, we've been averaging between 2 and 4 confirmed cases a day. That's what our contact tracers have been working. And contrast that to, January, when it was not uncommon for us to have over 100 cases a day just in Davis County. So, things are much, much better. So over the last, 15 months, the health department our primary focus, our only focus really for that matter, has been COVID-19. Back in March of 2020 or February of 2020, we started really kind of gearing up and focusing on risk communications, not only with the public in general, but talking with other community partners, local governments, schools, businesses about, what to expect and what was coming and how we needed to react. We had to scale up our contact tracing operations in a very major way. Prior to COVID-19, we had one full-time epidemiologist that worked on contact tracing. And then in each of our counties, we cover a 7-county region, we'd have one nurse that would handle all the contact tracing and disease investigating for that county. And typically they'd work on that, 3 or 4 hours a week, maybe a little bit more here in Davis County where there were a few more cases, but far, far from a full-time job. And as you may recall, then we were called upon to help with PPE and emergency, supply chain and dealing with that crisis, and we figured that out. And then we had a long period of time where we were the primary agency that was in charge of enforcing these state orders, making sure that businesses were following the restrictions, having mask mandates. And during all of this, we had to figure out how to transition our normal public health services over to a model that looked into infection control and accommodated social distancing. Then we had to build a testing program and expand upon that. And we had good partners with all of this work, but especially with testing with the hospital, a lot of our primary care physicians and urgent cares in the community that also provided testing. But that wasn't something the health department had done before, and we scaled this up where we had drive-through testing on a regular basis, and then still have to do all of the other functions that we were doing. And then this last phase has been the vaccine phase, and this has been the most rewarding part of this journey. In December, when we were kind of at the height of our number of cases or approaching the height of our number of cases, we had to figure out this vaccine thing as well. And as you may recall, it was very scarce, and supplies were very scarce early on. And having to adapt to that, work with others in the community. Again, Owensboro Health being, really the workhorse in terms of vaccine delivery for our region, along with the health department and other providers. And now the challenge really just remains to providing good information, building confidence in those vaccines. We'd like to see more of our community get vaccinated, make that decision. Access is not a problem anymore. Vaccines are plentiful in our community. They're easy to find. But what we would like to see is just help from leaders like you, anyone else, and spreading the word, building confidence. There's a lot of disinformation out there about vaccines and what they are, whether they're effective, whether they're safe. These vaccines are effective. They are safe. So that's really kind of the health department's primary focus right now. We're continuing to build to do outreach, trying to provide access to vaccines for those that won't seek it out on their own, maybe just present them with an opportunity. We've done, I see Mr. Johnson here, we've done projects with Truth Outreach. We're doing a big project right now with Owensboro Public Schools where we're providing vaccines on all of their feeding routes. We've done projects with the Chamber of Commerce, which have been very successful. Those have been some of our biggest turnout days since the early days when we'd have 200 or 300 people lined up in our parking lot. But since demand has slowed down, those seem to be some of our most successful. And then we're continuing to work with other partners in the community. One of the things that we think that's going to be the most effective tactic to instilling confidence in these vaccines is when people's primary care physician, their healthcare provider that they trust, recommends those. And as you may know, the logistics of handling these vaccines can be very complicated. The Pfizer vaccine, which is the one that's approved for the most people, it's approved for 12 years and older. It has to be held at sub-zero temperatures. It has to be held at between -60 and -80 degrees Celsius. You can hold it for short periods of time in regular freezers. But what we're doing now is we're acting as a hub. We've acquired a ultra cold freezer. There was surplus property out at the community college that wasn't being used. They have loaned that to us. We have that set up now. So we're able to hold vaccines. We're holding vaccines, all 3 vaccines, Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson. And for these providers that can't handle 1,000 doses of Pfizer, can't distribute that in the limited amount of time they can be held in a normal freezer, we'll hold it and transfer small amounts to them. So it's those type of things. It's like the partnership with the Chamber and Truth Outreach, the school system. That's really going to be our focus and our drive between now and Labor Day, I think. As far as our vaccination rates here in Davis County, 44% of our total population have received at least 1 dose of a COVID-19 vaccine, 55% of adults, and 52% of those that are age 12 and above. So 52% of those that are eligible have received at least 1 dose. You can kind of compare that in the state of Kentucky. If we're just looking at adults, 62% have taken at least 1 dose, and for the country, it's 67%. And you may know that the federal government had set this goal of hitting 70% of all adults having at least 1 dose by July 4th. So we've missed that by a little bit, but we'll get there probably in a few weeks. And that's the driving force why, as I started talking, why our numbers are so down. It's why we can all sit here tonight without masks on and have this meeting, and things are starting to resemble normal again. So that's the reason why we are very optimistic. And so finally, and kind of segueing into that, with the health department spent a lot of our time over the last year with these restrictions, working with businesses, doing enforcement. We're past that phase now. I think now we're at the phase where, we are still going to have to pay attention to COVID-19. We're not going to be able to just ignore it and forget that it's there. But if we're smart, if we listen to the experts, we listen to recommendations, we can navigate this. The mask mandate is no longer in place. However, there are still places where masks are going to be appropriate. They still need to be worn in healthcare settings. They still need to be worn on public transportation. And if you're a person that's got an immunocompromising condition, if you're someone who's not vaccinated especially, then we still would recommend to you strongly to wear a mask when you're indoors in public. That's the message that we're trying to carry. That's what I hope that you all as city leaders can help us carry. Beyond that, we're here at the health department, we're able to provide any guidance. The CDC at this point has robust, specific, very detailed guidance for just about every sector. I know that, I didn't see Amanda here tonight, but right after I got off the phone with you, Mayor, last month, I got a call from Amanda Rogers who wanted to know what do we do with these day camps and what's safe and what are the practices. And even though I was driving, I knew where to find that in terms of where the CDC's website and that information's out. So we're here as a resource, and we're happy to work with anyone in the community that needs our assistance.
Thank you, Clay. Well, I can tell you from the very beginning when the judge and myself and Clay and Dr. Dufresne, we were on some social media every week, and I'd call him and I'd say, Clay, I got this thing. He goes, no, Mayor, you can't do that. And so he answered every call, every text for over a year. And I just can't tell this community how grateful we should be to have Clay Horton and his team down there, because he's talking about Owensboro. You got what, 6 counties?
7, yes.
7.
Yeah.
7 counties. And that's been on the burden on his shoulders all this time. And his attitude's never changed. He's always been just pleasant and straight with the facts. And there's no telling where we'd be without you. And I just want to thank you. And I have a little award here I'd like to give you, if you'll allow me. It cost you $20. It's cheaper than it's cheaper than. But if all the commission would come down, we'd like to take a picture.
Sure.
I did that on the way to work this morning. I did my hand sanitizer on the way to work this morning. All right, this is certificate, Merit Award of Distinction certified that Clay Horton has been awarded this certificate of recognition for outstanding achievement July 6, 2020. All the commissioners have signed it. I'd like to present that to you on behalf of the city. Thank you.
I'm going to make sure I'm off the hot seat before I get out of here.
Well, I don't know how there could be any questions. You answered everything that I could think of, I can tell you that. Okay, thanks again, Clay. Now we get to the mundane stuff. You can slip out anytime you want. Item 5, business, 5A, consider approval of the minutes, June the 8th, 2021, June 15, 2021. I'll make a motion to approve. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion of the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 5B is consider board appointments. Shively York Neighborhood Alliance, reappoint Debbie Barker and Miranda Barker to a 2-year term effective July the 17th, 2021. I'll make a motion to approve this. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Item 6, ordinance. This is a second reading. We will have a roll call. Item 6A, City Clerk, please. Ms. Davis.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're
Ordinance 9-2021, an ordinance annexing to the city of Owensboro certain unincorporated territory in the county of Davis, adjoining the present boundary line of the city, being property located at 280 Harbor Ridge Drive, containing .414 acres, more or less, at the request of Sarah Jane McNulty, publicly read for approval on second reading the 6th day of July, 2021.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
City Manager, do you have any comments?
Yes, Mayor, just in summary, this is the second final reading of an ordinance for the annexation of just under half acre at 280 Harbor Ridge. Properties being acquired by 4 homeowners in the Harbor Ridge subdivision, and no annexation.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Davis?
Commissioner Sanford,
Yes.
Commissioner Caslen,
Yes.
Mayor Watson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Magliner,
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion approved. Ordinance, item number 7, ordinance first reading. There are none. We'll move over to item 8, municipal order. 8A, Ms. Davis.
Municipal Order Municipal Order 28-2021, a municipal order authorizing and directing the mayor to execute an application for a body-worn camera, BWC, implementation grant administered by the Bureau of Justice Assistance designed to provide critical resources to law enforcement jurisdictions for the purpose of reimbursing the Owensboro Police Department for 50% of the total cost of $307,952.60, expended to purchase 79 body-worn cameras, that amount being $153,976.30. Introduced and publicly read for approval the 6th day of July, 2021.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
City manager, please.
Yes, Mayor, this municipal order authorizes a grant application to provide funding for 79 body-worn cameras for the police department. It is a 50-50 grant, meaning the grant would pay half the cost and the city would pay the other half, estimated to be $153,976. You will likely recall that we budgeted to acquire body cams in the current budget, so our funding is available for the match if approved. And otherwise, again, if we're not successful, we have the funding approved to move forward with those regardless.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8B, Ms. Davis.
Municipal Order 29-2021, a municipal order authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a memorandum of agreement between the City of Owensboro and Davis County Fiscal Court, extending the Juvenile Drug Court Program an additional 3 years. Introduced and publicly read for approval the 6th day of July, 2021.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve this. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Do you want to go first, city manager, or second?
I'd prefer to go first, but it doesn't matter, whichever you prefer.
Well, I like Claude a lot better than I do you, but go ahead.
Okay. In 2013, the city and county partnered to provide a juvenile drug court, with each partner providing half of the cost. The partnership was extended for 3-year terms in 2015 and most recently in 2018. So the existing 3-year agreement expires at the end of this year. This municipal order approves another 3-year term. The terms of the agreement are the same as the existing agreement, with each party providing $70,000 annually for the cost of the program. Juvenile Drug Court Program is administered by the County Attorney's Office. County Attorney Claude Porter is here to provide an overview of the program and answer any questions you might have.
Mr. Porter, I hear you're the hardest working government employee in Davis County. Is that true?
I seriously doubt that.
Yes, sir. Please state your name and address for the record.
Claude Porter, County Attorney, 117 East 3rd Street. And I think you all have this presentation. No?
No, sir.
Well, I thought we sent it. Do you want to put it on, or no? Do you want me to just go through it?
Well, we'll have to ask somebody that's got all that.
Mm-hmm.
Technical ability.
By the time you get it on, I could probably be through my presentation, but that's the Juvenile Drug Court Program, as City Manager has mentioned, Nate mentioned, started 12 years ago. We were funded initially by AOC. They dropped it. We were fortunate enough that you all have picked it up. Initially, we had asked for and received about $180,000 divided between the city and the county. We've been able to fund the program at about $40,000 less than that now because of our efficiency. I'd like to think that's part of what it is. We're going to ask for you to continue to do that. The drug court team consists of a district judge, in this instance now it's Judge Misty Miller, myself, and the drug court director, Kyle Smith. We have assessed in the last year 41 kids, young adults, between 12 and 17. We've accepted 27 of them. 4 of them are still there. We're going to graduate another 1 or 2 soon. We have, over the years, assessed somewhere in the neighborhood of 750, approved and worked with somewhere in the neighborhood of 350 families, and of those, approximately 200 or so have graduated the program. Our team members include the judge, myself, the director, a member from the Department of Public Advocacy, who is now Colin O'Brien, a member of the public schools, the Davis County Public Schools right now. Oh, okay. Let's see. who include Laura McElhern now. She's going to be leaving, and our drug court coordinator will be the new school representative, and I'm hiring a new director. Lonnie Lyles and Ashley Berry provide our counseling services. Keith Wells, who's the superintendent of the day treatment program, where a number of our kids attend school as well, and Misty Jones as part of the Bridges program. You may have heard that's the equine services program. Oops, I'm doing two places at once. Our staff meets every quarter to review and discuss our program. We meet weekly to discuss each kid. Parents and the juveniles participate in the program and report on their progress and what's happened. The offenses that we take, the kids that we look for include anybody with drug offenses. They have to have something filed either through the CDWs, through the schools, or through our office. We also will look at other public offenses that are drug related, but they must be nonviolent and non-sexual offenses. They have to be, as I mentioned, between 12 and 17 years of age, because we have a roughly 6-month program, and anyone over 17 we would not finish before they turned 18 and don't like to do that. They must be dependent on drugs or alcohol or whatever other substance it may be, but not addicted. The difference is that once they're addicted, we are not able to handle that, and they need to go to a more... Okay, let me hold this, because I like to walk more than, and I can't see that thing without doing that. But we also require cooperation with the parents. They sign a participation agreement. The kids get to us through the court referrals, through the CDWs. The CDWs, the court designated worker, the person who handles the juvenile court charging, comes through the officers to CDWs to us. It also can be referred through the schools. Any of you can refer someone to us, and we will evaluate them for acceptance into the program. They are assessed by our program director, and then we give them an assessment to determine where we are. The phases that we have include random drug testing all the time, which is the most important thing, and one of the things that you all pay for, help pay for, is a part of this. We supervise them by the drug court coordinator and the staff. We set a curfew. They have to go to school. They have to participate in the treatment program. The first stage is 12 weeks. We, again, have random drug testing, biweekly appearances. They have to go to treatment at least twice a week, and they have a curfew at 6 p.m. We increased their curfew to 8 p.m. in the second group. We still can do the random drug testing, still required to come to court, and they're also in the equine assisted therapy or the Bridges program. The graduation ceremony, we like to give them a little something, usually have their friends and other supporters there. We provide usually some kind of meal where everybody shows up, along with our community partners, government officials we often invite, and refreshments or dinners. Sanctions for kids who don't do the things that we ask them to do, which are all of them. Haven't had one yet that doesn't. They may be required to do community service. They could be required to do home detention, which is another thing that we use to pay. The grant pays for is the ankle monitors that we use for them. They may be required to make some written report or other essay kind of thing. They may be limited in the electronics they can use. They may not. We may take their driver's license if they're that old, and we may reduce their curfew again. For incentives, we like to give them gift cards to places around movie theaters. We may increase their curfew. That is, they get to stay out later or longer on a weekend. Of course, we always try to give them a little bit of praise. We give them bus passes. You all have been very good about helping us out with those, movie passes, and we may let them miss a court date or two. Parents and guardians do the same things. They all sign a participation agreement. That includes an agreement that they're going to get their kids to all the things that they're required to do. And the parents also are subject to drug testing as well. We may order the parents or guardians to participate in drug treatment and counseling as well, and they may already be in it. They have to appear with their juvenile at all court appearances and all required family counseling, and they're encouraged to communicate with us about what may be going on. And if our coordinator was here, she would tell you that she gets calls all times of the day or night. We continue to monitor for the parents their home rules and make sure that they are having their kids participate and comply with the monitoring. if the sanctions come back, if parents don't do what we ask them to do, the court can hold them in contempt. We can put them in jail. We can ask them to do community service. We may just berate them in front of everyone else. We also may give them a writing assignment. Occasionally, we will remove their children from their home, and we might place them at someplace like the St. Joseph Peace Mission. Again, something that the drug court grant helps us pay for, which we appreciate and thank you for that. This is our budget, our salary and benefits. That includes the salary plus all the benefits, retirement, and all those things. So you all go through the budget, you know what that looks like. And then our contracting services, which includes the things I've mentioned, the drug testing, the counseling service, and the housing, total just over $140,000. The amount of money that we contribute, the in-kind portion, I think is probably a little more than that. That's just used that, and that's sort of an old one, but we contribute, that is the services that the county attorney provides, plus all the professional services that are done at no cost to drug court, total somewhere in the neighborhood of $116,000, and it's probably closer to $125,000 now. So roughly what you all do and what we're able to do, we're on a 50-50 basis. So, do you all have any questions about it? We can just say that we think it's done a marvelous job in at least straightening up some of the kids and families that we've had.
Well, you know, Claude, you know, I've been there multiple times at the graduation, and everyone should try and go at least one time, because the graduates will write a letter of Thanksgiving is what I always call it, and explain their problem, talk about it in public, and it all comes from what you guys are doing all through that time, and it's really a special program. And I think Judge Castleman's, both of them were really involved in this in the beginning, and when the funding went from AOC, Judge Mattingly called and I said, yeah, it's a no-brainer. We can participate and glad to do it. So I can't tell you how important it is, and you know, you save one, you save the human being, and what y'all do is very special, and I know I speak for all of us here that we thank you for your contribution to our community.
We thank you for your contribution.
Well,
And we appreciate it.
it was an easy thing to do, and we're glad to do it, because we know it's being done right. You know, to give money, we like to make sure that it's done right, and there's no question. And I invite anybody to go to one of these graduations.
We would encourage you and invite you, and if we haven't sent you an invitation, I'll make sure that we get you one to our next one.
I mean, it's so special. It's you know, because some of these young folks have never been in public and spoke in public in their life, but they feel so good about graduating from this program that they just, it's amazing. It is not a dry eye in the Dead Flame House, is there? Pretty
There
cool.
isn't there often.
Well, thank you very much for the presentation.
I've
Thank
got
you.
one question.
Excuse me, Commissioner Castleman, would you like to speak?
Yes. I didn't want him to get away before you looked over.
I know you got this.
there-
I'm in a tennis ball kind of.
Yes. You know, you were talking about being dependent or addicted to the drugs or alcohol. I was just curious, how do they make a determination? There's got to be a fine line there, you know?
There is, and that's why we have experts who aren't here to tell you exactly what the difference is. The difference is how much we can help, and someone who is addicted needs something a lot more than we have. They'll need professional help almost every day, and they often need inpatient treatment, which we do not obviously provide. We just provide a sort of a schedule and what might be considered in the drug community intensive outpatient services. We're not quite to the level of intensive outpatient, but pretty close. And I can't answer that question because I'm not really qualified to do that.
Dr. Clark probably couldn't she?
She could.
She's awesome.
That's great work you're doing, and I've seen people that have gone through programs and cleaned up their acts, and it's amazing how they'll go from being someone you don't want to even be associated with to someone you're proud to be with, you know.
Absolutely, and we'd like you to come see a couple of those.
I'd like it. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Glenn.
So, Claude, my big question is, did you have to adjust anything in the last year due to COVID, change any of the ways you operated?
Yes, we switched like everyone else from in-person court to virtual court. Half our meetings now, but during the COVID time, all of our meetings were held virtually. A lot of our even counseling meetings were held virtually. The one that wasn't was the Bridges program, the horse therapy. They continue to do that in person.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Job well done. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Great program.
Thank you very much. Thank all of you.
Thank you. Okay. Now I'm lost. I could start thinking about all those kids. Where are we? Okay, we're going to vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, item 8C, Ms. Davis. I think that's right.
Municipal Order 30-2021, a municipal order relating to the City of Owensboro, acknowledging support for the submission of a federal Rebuilding American Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity, RAISE, transportation grant submitted by Davis County, and further committing local funding support as part of the grant application. Introduced and publicly read for approval this 6th day of July, 2021.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve. Could I have a second?
Second.
City Manager, you have any comments?
No, Mayor, just to acknowledge that Highway Department District 2 Chief Engineer Denitra Henderson is here to brief the commission on this item.
Yes. You might have said whiz bang.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Denitra Henderson. I'm the Chief District Engineer for the Transportation Cabinet out of Madisonville. Is it on? You're looking, finding an 8.
Wait, you just got to kind of get closer to it.
I'll get closer. So tonight I'm here to support the motion that was just made to support the application of Davis County Fiscal Court and the Kentucky 54 RAISE grant application. They were previously called the BUILD grants, but they have been changed this year to the RAISE. It's a federal infrastructure grant. They can range anywhere between $0 and $25 million, and each state has a cap of $100 million in awards this year. This Kentucky 54 corridor in Davis County is one of the grant applications that Kentucky Transportation Cabinet is sponsoring by paying for the application process. HDR is our engineering firm that's preparing the application, and Davis County Fiscal Court may be submitting that because they already have the federal login information to submit the grant, but City of Owensboro is very much a partner in that. The total cost of the Section 1 of Kentucky 54 widening is $30.6 million, construction dollars. And the grant, of course, is $25 million, and then the city's $500,000 contribution, the county's $500,000 contribution means that we'll have $26 million towards that 30.6. So you can see that's a huge benefit to our state transportation budget, and then the additional funds will come out of that transportation budget. And so that's what we're asking for tonight. The winning applications in the past have shown a strong local support, financial support, and so $1 million local contribution is very significant and should give your application the best chance.
Thank you. I know when Al called me and said we were both at 250 and we went to 5 because we thought that much of this project, and we're happy to participate for sure because most people think 54 needs to be widened, don't they?
Most people do.
Most people do. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Henderson. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now you got that long drive home, but we appreciate you being here. Okay. Item number 9 is city manager items.
Mayor,
Okay, should I ask to call on? Go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead,
Angela
city
Angela
manager.
Waninger will present the May financial report.
Yes, I'll be giving a presentation on the general fund activity for the month of May 2021 and the 11 months ended May. You may refer to page 3 of your financial packet for more detail. So our first slide here, for the month of May, our actual revenues were $5,041,440. They were higher than budgeted revenues of $4,508,998 for a variance of $532,442. This is primarily due to higher occupational withholding, net profit license fees, and insurance premium license fees. Our next slide is the 11 months ended May 2021 for revenues. Our total actual revenues of $62,369,236 were higher than the budgeted revenues of $61,406,392 for a variance of $962,844. This variance is primarily due to higher occupational tax withholding, net profit license fees, and property tax revenue. It's partially offset by lower insurance premium license fees, other revenues, which are mostly due to timing, and lower in lieu of. Our next slide is our general fund expenditures for the month of May. Total expenditures were $4,104,317, which were less than budgeted expenditures of $4,413,803 for a variance of $309,486. This is primarily due to savings in personnel services. Our next slide is the general fund expenditures for year-to-date May. This is for 11 months ended. Actual expenditures of $50,875,594 were less than budgeted expenditures of $55,299,025 for a variance of $4,423,431. This variance is primarily due to savings in personnel services and timing in capital, supplies, and outside services. And our last slide shows what it looks like each month. The green bar representing the revenues and the red bar representing our expenditures. And you can see how it peaks and valleys, and just showing the nature of our how our revenues and expenses are cyclical, meaning that in some months revenues outpace expenses due to tax collections, such as property tax, net profits, and occupational license fees. Those are the months where the green spikes up higher. And then there's months where expenses may actually exceed revenues in the warmer months when outdoor maintenance and parks are in full swing. It also should be noted that timing, due to a variety of reasons, such as COVID, can affect when monthly activity is reflected as well. And that concludes my presentation. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer.
Okay, I'll make a motion to file for audit. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion from the dais?
One question.
Commissioner Glenn.
Thank you. Ms. Waniger, the question I've got is, I looked more deeply into the report. How is our unemployment? Our unemployment rate looks good, but I know there was I think it was McLean County, they were almost a point below us. So in studying, we've got an increase in occupation tax, which is awesome. What's fueling the occupation tax increase if our unemployment rate is still a little higher than our regional competitors?
Well, the general fund is what I call the net of occupational. We have our developer incentive agreements. We have different things, they're TIF, okay? So there's different things that comes in and goes out. And so just based on what you presented, I'm not familiar with their activity, but that would tell me that our wages are probably a higher wage per individual is what comes to my mind.
Well, it's good news in any case, and good report. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 9B, consider personnel appointments. City Manager.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Tonight, Commission, for your consideration, we have 3 personnel appointments. Cynthia Adkins, probationary full-time non-civil service appointment to Revenue Clerk with the Finance Department effective July 19th. Billy Carter, probationary full-time non-civil service appointment to Police Officer with the Police Department effective July 19th. And Anthony Esparza, probationary full-time non-civil service appointment to Telecommunicator with the Police Department effective July 19th.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve these hires. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Item 9C, city manager comments.
No other comments.
Item 10 is communication from elected officials. Commissioner Sanford.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things tonight. I think, I can't remember how long it's been. A couple of weeks ago, I received an email about the fire department and a response time. I believe it was a home on the west side that you guys went to. And anyway, they were complimenting you. You guys were there within no time and had done a wonderful job. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. Number one. Number two is I think the city manager and I the other day just briefly spoke about, I get a lot of questions about panhandling, and I believe that at one time someone had mentioned putting some signs up directing people to give money to our local nonprofits who do a great job with people that are homeless, and I think it might be something that need to be looked at. A lot of people have mental health issues and drug issues, and I think it's very noble to give people money, but I think if we could direct them to the people who could actually really help them, I think it would be a good idea. So I would like to look at maybe putting some signs where we can, and I know, I think we've talked about this, city manager, where we're allowed to put them, because I think we could do more good than we can just handing someone some money, because I think there's other problems going on there. The third thing, 4th of July, we just celebrated 4th of July, and you know, in Mass the other day, Father Sinoj, I go to Blessed Sacrament just down the street over here, and he gave a great homily about the freedoms we have in this country, and I think a lot of people take it for granted, the freedoms that we have to disagree, to do what we want to do, and I think that we need to keep in mind that there's a lot of people who have paid the ultimate price for the freedoms that we have in this country, and I think we need to be teaching, you know, our young people that this is not the most perfect place in you know, our country's not perfect, but it is the best that there is, and that really hit me when he was talking about that in Mass the other day, and I thought I would needed to say something about it, because I've had a lot of family members in the military, and some of them lost their lives, and Mayor, I know you've seen some of them who've lost limbs, and you deal with that, and we need to be thankful for that, and I'm very thankful to live in this country, and that's it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mayor Pro Tem Maglinger.
Thank you, Mayor. I
You're
hope
welcome.
everyone enjoyed the 4th of July weekend. And there was a lot of activities. I think all of the city workers and everything did a great job. And I hope you got to visit the Vietnam Memorial Wall, something else to see the real heroes. So that's all I got. Thank you, Mayor.
Sure. Commissioner Castle.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Last week, I had the opportunity to tour the Museum of Fine Arts with Mrs. Hood and Mr. Hayden. They gave me and Rafe Buckner a tour of it. I've been in the museum before, but I never realized just how fortunate we are to have the second largest art museum in the state. It's very impressive, and I wanted to thank them and to encourage others to go out and visit our museum. We're very fortunate to have it. I also wanted to give a shout out to Mr. Michael Johnson, who is in the audience tonight, and Mr. DeMarcus Curry. They went down to Kendall Perkins in Northwest area to try to help keep our youth in control and of their fireworks. And I want to thank you for stepping up and trying to help the community to keep our children in check. I was a teenager once, and we all were, and we know how easy it is to get out of control. But I'd also like to challenge the parents around the city to be in your kids' business and make sure that they're following a good path and not getting out of control. I don't care what part of town you're in, it can happen in a heartbeat. And I also wanted to invite all the commission to a meeting that we have next Tuesday at 6 p.m. over at Kendall Perkins Park for the Community Collaborative. There's going to be quite a few discussions going on, and Mayor and Commissioners, if y'all would like to join me next week, we'd certainly appreciate having you there. That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner Glenn. Commissioner Glenn?
Yes. So a couple of things. The first is, I thought the fireworks, again, we went with those 3 localized presentations, and then the main one down at the river, and I just want to thank all of the people that made that possible. I thought it went very well. We were on kind of the GE side, and it was just a really nice experience, and I don't know where we'll go in the future, because COVID is obviously less of a prominent issue in our grill as it was like a year ago. But I do think it's a nice approach, and I've heard a lot of positive comments about the localized fireworks shows. So that may be something we want to keep on the docket for future years. But I thought it went very well. The second is that I had the occasion to travel to 3 states, 2 of which have some of the lowest COVID vaccination rates in the country. And I just want to share this with you. I was in Cheyenne, Wyoming, Albany County, and they're having a flare-up of the Delta variants. It's not pretty. We went into a restaurant. Every worker was, I couldn't figure out what was going on, to be honest, compared to Owensboro. Everybody was wearing a mask. Staff was, other people. And my wife and I, I went out to the car and got a mask. I said, what is going on? So finally I got a hold of somebody as we were leaving the restaurant, and they said, we're under siege. Look at our numbers. So the next day I went online, and they had 260 cases in one day. So all I would say to you is, we had Mr. Horton here, and I just want to thank the health department and his staff for the tremendous work. Thank you, Mayor, for recognizing, because a lot of health directors have quit in this country because of the stress and attacks that they've been under. And I don't think that's been the case as much here in Davis County and Owensboro. But we have to be vigilant. We have to be vigilant. And that means if you have any doubt about getting the vaccine, please go to a medical professional and get the advice you need to make a sound decision, because the Delta variant is deadly, particularly if you're not vaccinated. And that's what they're finding out in Albany County and Cheyenne, Wyoming, and Idaho and other places we visited. It's not a joke. It can come back, and we don't want it to come back. We want our lives back. I think we all do. We want to be able to do what we just did on the 4th of July. So very important to keep that in mind. Mayor, thank you so much.
You're welcome. I spent a lot of time this last week or so with our new CEO at Owensboro Health, Mark Marsh. He's hit the ground running. He's a very talented guy. He's got a lot of local roots here with different people. He was a football player at Western and quarterback and played baseball, and he's from Cincinnati. His wife is here now with all their kids and dog, and he's making a tremendous effort to try and keep the progress that OH has made in the past few years going. He's going to be a real asset to our community. He's a people person, and I'm tickled to death with the outreach he's done. He's gone into the privately owned physicians, the employed physicians from the hospital, trying to create some synergy so that we can continue to have a very effective hospital. You got to realize that it's the largest employer west of Louisville, and they own 2 other hospitals, one in Litchfield and one in Meadowburg County, and looking at a couple more. In one of these meetings, I'll have Mark come and speak for himself, but he's going to be a tremendous asset. They've hired their CFO, and things are really exciting over at Owensboro Health. I do want to thank all the people that were involved with the fireworks. Obviously, when we have it 3 or 4 different places, it's more expensive, but most people really enjoyed the fact that they didn't have to go somewhere and kind of huddle up with a bunch of extra people. But I was down on the river. Barbara and I were, I'd say there's 10,000 people down on the river during the fireworks. I mean, they were lined up 6 deep, and so it's having them at the GE2 plant, Shively and Legion and Memorial maybe. I can't remember the places, but everybody agrees that's a pretty good thing. But it is considerably more expensive to shoot fireworks off in 5 places than it is in one place. I want to thank Yeager Material for providing the barge for us. That was a tremendous help. And I too went to I got to speak at the traveling memorial for Vietnam vets, and and Keith Kane did a great job of framing the whole issue. And like Jeff said, I've actually taken care of a veteran with limb loss from World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and Iraq and Afghanistan. And the stories I've been told and have learned over the years, it's remarkable, the sacrifice, not only the service, but the sacrifice that folks have done for our country. And sometimes I wonder, if they see all this discourse and all this infighting and grouchy people and, downgrading the flag and all that stuff, you just wonder, what would they say after they gave their life or gave parts of their body to try and give us the opportunity to have a fireworks display that was second to none in a community this size. So keep that in mind, that there's those that some serve, some, what is that saying? Some gave some and some gave all, or however that goes. We lost.
Some gave all.
Yeah, so it's a great time to be in America, and I don't really understand some of the other things that are going on, but hopefully, the pendulum will swing back to the middle and people will realize that. So I want to congratulate our community for being a very strong, patriotic community. Okay, item 11, open public forum. Members of the audience are invited to address the City Commission on any matter of public concern that was not on tonight's agenda. Comments are limited to issues within the scope and responsibility of this commission. The commission meetings are held to conduct city business for the benefit of Owensboro residents and taxpayers. At this time, anyone who wishes to address the city commission, please make their way to the podium. To be recognized, speakers must state their name and address for the clerk's record. So I invite the public to come to the podium. Samuel? Okay. All right. The public is satisfied. So at this time, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.